All right, guys and girls, this is jerninhgam here. If you live in London in the UK, COVID frontline harrowing scenes for London investing care unit as date deaths square. It means goes higher. This kind of slang what they're saying. I don't bloody know, but we're going to be putting it onto here anyway.
Now, the number of patients being treated for COVID in hospitals across the UK is above 30,000, and more than 1,000 deaths have been reported for the latest 24-hour period. That's the highest since last April. The London area is at the centre of the crisis as we speak, and our medical editor Fergus Walsh has been allowed to film inside the intensive care unit at London's University College Hospital. It is one of the city's busiest. The extended report, filmed by Adam Walker and produced by Noel Titheridge, will shock and upset many viewers.
Intensive care is under pressure like never before.
After Christmas, it just sort of hit me. I've seen a couple of people within the short time that I spent in a hospital, they didn't make it.
From a relentless rise in COVID admissions.
How long can you keep going like this?
At this pace, I think we've got about a week.
Staff fear burnout.
The nurses are broken. The physical and mental load is huge.
The toll is immense.
My emotions are all over the place. Scared, sad, petrified, worried.
This should be an operating theatre, but there's no surgery here. Instead, it's been converted into an intensive care unit. The number of COVID patients in London's hospitals has doubled in just 2 weeks. They're more stretched now than at the peak last April.
We've got 3 times as many critically ill patients in this hospital than we normally have. And we've managed to stretch and spread to cover that, but that can't go on forever.
Intensive care is expanding across University College Hospital, a children's area now for desperately sick adults. Every day, more wards are being transformed into ICU, ready for the next influx. But senior staff are worried.
Got plans that we can expand for another week at this rate, but after that we really need to see it slow down, or we're going to see the care we can deliver suffer. I think we'd be running so thin on staff that we just physically couldn't look after critically ill patients.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will be ideal if we had one more per.
The ventilated patients are turned twice a day. Lying on their front, proned, helps get oxygen to their lungs. 9 staff are involved in this delicate procedure.
Okay, we're going to go all over on 3. 1, 2, 3.
To ensure breathing tubes, drug lines, all the paraphernalia of critical care are not disturbed. COVID has made this a winter like no other. Attila is 67. Over the holidays, coronavirus spread through his family.
After Christmas, it just sort of hit me. It just sort of went bang. I just couldn't breathe at all. I didn't think I'd actually make it through. And you're gasping. It's like, there is no oxygen around. And
Frightening.
Sorry?
Frightening.
Very, very frightening. Very.
There are 3 pregnant women in intensive care. Rachel is due in 5 weeks.
Every mother puts her child before herself.
Both she and her baby are doing well.
They can't do anything that will harm the baby, obviously, and they look after my baby so well. All the time coming and checking, monitoring. The baby is happy. You can't see, but they're looking after 2 people in once. They save your life.
There's a massive one. I think the lowest you can go to charge as well.
The demands on staff are unrelenting, and on their families too. Alice has young children, cared for by grandparents in Scotland during the first peak.
In stage 1, I sent my 5 and 7-year-old daughters away because we weren't quite sure how we would manage. So I had my 5-year-old in tears last night at the thought of another lockdown because she thought that meant I was sending her away again.
She's most worried about the impact on nurses, the bedrock of care in ICU.
It's not uncommon at the moment that I've come to work, I've walked into the unit to find nurses crying. The physical and mental load is huge, and I'm really worried that we're going to break a lot of nurses.
And what about the doctors
And
as well?
doctors, and doctors too.
Intensive care nursing is highly specialised. Usually they're one-to-one with patients, now responsible for 3, 4 or 5, with other staff filling the gaps.
We're so stressed we have to prioritise, and prioritising care is not what the NHS that I grew up in. We shouldn't have to choose which patient gets what care first.
Ashley says she's never had to make decisions like this before.
If people asking for your help, you just don't know who to help first. The patients are losing their lives at a dramatic speed. We're not just getting old people. This is young people that we're getting, people my age.
I've reported from here several times during the pandemic, and I'm always struck by the professionalism and dedication of staff. But this is a system under strain like never before.
The warning signs here couldn't be clearer. The NHS is now on the brink. Unless infection rates start to fall soon, then it could seriously impact patient care, and not just for those with COVID.
So these are really serious consequences, and if we get to that point, we can't offer anyone ICU, not just COVID patients, but anyone who has a traffic accident or a heart attack or a stroke or whatever it is. We just won't have any more capacity to take them in.
For now, the Trust is coping. Cancer operations are continuing, though most non-urgent surgery is cancelled.
All of a sudden, out of the blue, just COVID just like knocked on the door, and there you go. Hello, James. Yeah, I'm just pleased that I'm still alive now.
Gerald is awaiting chemotherapy for lung cancer and had been shielding, but still caught coronavirus.
Okay.
All right then, Dad.
Love you lots.
All right, love you.
Love you.
He just wants to get home to his daughters.
When you've got young ones behind, that's your worry. Because you fight for your life is for them, and you want to give them a life.
The next few weeks could be the biggest challenge the NHS has faced in its history, and it will be its staff who will bear the brunt for all of us.
Fergus is with me. It's a rare glimpse of that you've shared with the viewers, Fergus, not for the first time, but I think it's fair to say that this was even more intense and even more harrowing than the last visit you made.
Absolutely, it's worse, Hugh. Put simply, the staff there are used to dealing with a crisis, but they are exhausted, shell-shocked. I saw some in tears. Now, this is a UK-wide crisis. We now have 30,000 plus COVID patients in hospital across the UK. At the peak in April, it was 21,000. The average age of those patients in intensive care is 60, but many are in their 20s, 30s or 40s. The images in that report, well, they are sobering, frightening even, but the NHS is urging people who are seriously ill with non-COVID conditions to come forward. No? So if you think you're having a heart attack or a stroke, or if you have a lump or a bump which may be cancerous, do seek medical help, because last time people didn't, and that cost lives. But we are tonight, I think, in a more perilous situation than at any time in this pandemic, especially because of the new contagious variant. But the key message from staff is that we all have a role to play in this pandemic, and stay at home if you can.
Fergus, many thanks once again. Fergus, of course, there are medical editor with that extended report from University College Hospital.
Well, there we go, guys and girls. That's how really bad it's getting in London for coronavirus. And what I've shown you is the true thing, and it's upsetting for a lot of people. A lot of nurses and doctors are crying on there. And they're going to lose a lot of loved ones again this year because the coronavirus is going bad. It's going up in the UK, getting very, very bad, especially in Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales having the cases as well. It's getting bad. So anyway, thanks for joining this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. And it's very sad news, I know. More people are dying. They wish they had a vaccine and get to grips with this virus. Will we get grips with it one day, or will we just keep going like this for a long time, for a couple of more years? Anyway, thank you for joining me. Peace.